to be here yet, and that's fine. I mostly just don't feel like recording, so I'm making lives. But feel free to talk to me. I just have a few things I've been thinking about that I really just want to babble on about, and right now I am prepping this candle for it's been charging on my altar for a while, but I've been prepping it for this. I'm attempting to make a perfume. We'll see how it actually smells. I might have to water it down into a body spray if it's too potent. But yes, I've been working on a few different things magically, and I just feel like I want to switch it up a little bit. I want to make more things for myself. Like, I've always made oils, but I want to make more things I can just use every day. And so, I don't know, I had this idea for the perfume, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to attempt it. It's probably not going to be great the first time, but as I knock things over. But yeah, I have this like cute devil candle guy. And he's been inscribed and carved with the anticipation of infusing some certain energies from certain demons I work with. That will be done off camera, obviously. But what are y'all saying? Hi, Blood, Sweat, and Steel. How you doing? So, I'm gonna be oiling up this candle. I have a few different oils here. This is mainly like a perfume I want to wear when I'm doing something new, when I'm just like putting myself out there, or like, just I guess it's like a success thing, but I don't know, just encouragement. I don't even know. It's got a lot of Lilith vibes on it, that's why. But I don't know. I feel like I'll know the true purpose of it down the line, if that makes sense. Love your altar, always wanted to make oils and never had the time. So I just ordered them from there. I mean, I still buy like a lot of store, like I bought this one. But I do make some of my own when I have time to like make my own. When I make mine, they're very specific to what I'm doing. There's a moth. This carcass will not be in vain. I will use it later. All right. So I will be dressing the candle first with some, I'm not saying everything I have here, but I have some dragon's blood oil that just feels appropriate. There's some of it in the perfume as well. This is mostly a pomegranate, and there's some rose and some clove and the mix of things in there. But yeah. So I'm gonna put a little more oil. And I'm gonna grab some Crown of Success oil as well. And get that on my hands and get that on the candle. I'm sorry y'all can't really see what I'm doing. I tried to angle the camera. It just wasn't working. So I'm just gonna like show you. It's just like awkward. In this case, upward. Sometimes I would go down. This is my own Satan oil. I do not sell it. If Satan gives me permission in the future to sell it, maybe I will. Right now, it is just for my personal use, as is my Lilith oil. My Lilith oil is not optional as something to sell for a few different reasons. But I could potentially make a version of it that would be okay. Sorry, let me catch up to what chat is saying. Yeah, I love Astaroth too. She's wonderful. I owe her an oil. I have to make her one. I've been planning one for her. I'm just trying to find the right sort of timing for that. Yeah, I'm very I'm very influenced by a lot of folk magic. I do have like ceremonial aspects of my craft, but like as you can see, I have a very small space and it works best to do like small handheld sympathetic magics, I feel, in smaller spaces. Otherwise, I'd just be doing fucking sigils all the time and I get really bored of that. So, but yeah, I love candle magic. Like I'm obsessed with candle magic. It's not the only folk magic I do. Um, this is an incense I made with a specific goal. I'm switching up my career a little bit, and this incense got my friend. I made this incense for both me and my friend. We were looking for new jobs, and I used it in her house. She got a job like prospect that day, and then she got the job she wanted like literally 3 days later. Um, me, I already have an interview lined up because I'm awesome like that. But I would like it to not just be about the job. I'd like it to be about career, and I have like big moves in my career that I want to make. So um, this is just propelling that forward. Let me catch up to what y'all are saying. First, let me get my fingers out of the jar. Stuck in that jar. It's gonna be kind of hard to dress candles and touch the chat, but it's okay. Folklore can be an excellent source of information. I mean, yes, I definitely use folklore as well. Not all folk magic is folklore, but they're often like tied together. Yes, I use folklore as well. I'm also a folkloric witch. Um, I use a lot of like what I would consider modern folklore, which is sort of like blending the like pop culture thing with chaos magic, whatever. I I sometimes just see media differently, and I have my own sort of like meaning or whatever that I can draw from it symbolically because I've taken so many English courses and I was originally going to major in English. So I know how to like bullshit a meaning out of something. I've used that a lot when I just like liked a movie and I was like, I'm gonna use it magically. There's Satan's candle in that cauldron there. If it burns out, I'm gonna replace it. There's a few topics that were on my mind that I wanted to like talk about that um listen, I'm okay. Okay. How do I say this? First off, I understand that some traditions and some people and some ways that people practice their relationships to spirit are more transactional than mine. Like I get it. Um don't have a problem with that if you adhere to your side of the bargain in that regard before you start preaching at anybody. That kind of thing, right? But it really, like, and again, other people's practice is not my business. However, there have been times when people made it my business. We'll share that on that later. Oh my goodness. What really irks me is seeing people treat the spirits like the bare minimum should cover everything else. And that somehow taking away the bare minimum is going to somehow like manipulate certain spirits that are well above your fucking pay grade as a witch in your terms of power. Um, Obviously, this does not work out well most of the time. There are some spirits you could probably do this with successfully, but I would suggest instead to um, do so more from a positive point of view. Like, hey, if you do this thing for me, I'll get you that when you get it for me. You don't have to like take away something they already have. Um, because generally speaking, if there's something you pacted for, right, and it's not happening for you, and the spirit seems to not be delivering, why not ask the spirit exactly why, missed it, exactly why they are not giving it to you? You don't go to immediately try to punish them. That's ridiculous, right? Not safe. Not a good idea. I think it's important, as much as you may have transactional relationships with spirits and deity, and demons, etc. I feel it's very important to have organic relationships as well as pacted ones. I think it's really important to have working relationships, um, that are based on trust that is built over time. I think this is good in general, between human beings, but I think it's very good with spirits. And it may begin with a smaller pact, it may begin with a smaller agreement, and that's fine. But I find that people are really ready to like make these huge commitments that they don't uphold. Let me catch up to what y'all are saying. Don't understand the spirit world requires as much devotion as mundane life. Yeah, it requires a lot of maintenance as well. It requires like a give and take. If you're not, you can't just expect something for the bare minimum of just like being able to talk to them. Some of them require payment for an audience. There have been times when, I didn't hear Satan, and that was because I needed to give him an offering. It was something that I should be doing, right? And that was something I had to hold myself accountable for. I'd be like, okay, I have to give him something of myself. Um, I find that like there are times when the decision to play these games with spirits can affect other people, and I just think people should be mindful of their own contracts being kept to themselves. Pull that with the Fae. Ooh. Pull that with the Fae. I don't know about that. That's not a good idea. Let me just sit back. That's not a good idea. Okay. I'm not gonna light this here just yet. This is gonna be after. Yeah, I think that's all I want to say on that. It was just something that was really bugging me. I personally, as much as I am not the most devoted person all the time, I really wish I could be like, oh yeah, I'm like super. Sometimes I just have days where I just sleep the fuck in. And I have to make up for that, and I have to atone for that, and I have to be responsible for that. But like, I would never, I would never demand. Anytime you demand something of Satan, oh, he hears you. He hears you, and he'll give it to you, bitch. He'll give it to you, and he'll smack you upside the head. Honey, I don't know what that means at all. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. The next sort of topic I had, because I don't really want to talk that one to death, was my perspectives on protection magic sort of changing. I think when I first got onto the witchcraft scene, and I, of course, heard nothing but like protection everywhere, it just seemed a bit paranoid to me. It seemed like protection from what? Like from from what? You're assuming I'm being attacked right now. It seemed a little bit paranoid to me. Hold on, let me read what you said. Sometimes I don't want to do devotions, but also I don't want to be forgotten about either. Yeah, it's very time consuming. It's and balancing it with how demanding mundane life can be is challenging, especially if you have like some sort of attention deficit thing going on. Guilty. Um, yes, but like I'm learning with like protection magic that it's not always anticipating a threat. Um, it can be to protect yourself from, as much as we're doing magic around things that we want, it's probably good to also do magic against things we don't want just on a regular basis. It doesn't even necessarily have to be like a traditional concept of protection, right? Like I've learned that now. I've been like, oh yeah, like I can keep a magical, I can like ward almost against certain things that make space for what I do want to create. And starting to like piece together how I want my magic to be more all encompassing when I'm like designing it, so to speak. Not to control all the hows and whats, because like when you do that, you're too attached to the desire. You get in your own way effectively. So you want to just cover your bases basically, and things can happen more specifically the way you want. And it's been pretty cool for me. It's worked pretty well so far. I'm still challenging myself to do it more, but I was curious if anyone had any thoughts about that or an experience with like understanding that. So you know that saying like when you banish, you must invoke. It's almost like when you're invoking, you have to banish as well, um, creating space for what you actually want. And that can be hard to do because sometimes that requires you to act before you see the whole picture. Um, and yeah, you know, it's great to be intuitive, but for me, like, I am always somewhat a little bit too logical sometimes, where I'm like, I don't know. Like, maybe it's my intuition, maybe it's something else. There are times when I just know, but if it's something small, if it's something in the beginning of something, I really just sort of ignore it. Um, I could do better to trust it, for sure. Something I was grabbing. What was it? Oh, yes. Checking on Satan's candle there. Okay. Does anyone have any thoughts about that before I just like ramble on and kind of cut it short? Yeah, people might try to challenge you out of ego. I've noticed that most people, um it's not that they try to like, I don't know, there's a few people that have done that with me, but most of the time if someone's doing something at me, it's because they're anticipating that I'm gonna do something first. So a lot of the time they just like do it anticipating I'll do something. And then there are other times when it's more like they're spying on me. And I don't like that. And I have things that protect me from that, and I have things that also project things into that. So, um, people take that when they receive it, they take that as me doing things to them. So, I mean, that's, I guess, how a lot of things get started. I found that as I seeped into my own path, I was challenged and to stay hidden into myself. I mean, if that, yeah, if that works for you, then do that. I understand. Like, I definitely like have been more aware to, as open as I am about who I am and what I do and all that. Like, I've learned to just like be less trusting. I think I've been very trusting of other people in the past, and it's like very dumb. Looking back, I'm like, why did I do that? Not clever. Um, you know, and it's just it's not even that I fear, you know, being casted on or anything like that. I don't really fear that. I feel like if that were to happen to me successfully, I can handle it because I have before. Um, it's more just like I'm in the shock of like, why would other, like, witches have the whole world against us? Why waste your time biting at each other's fucking heels all the fucking time? Spells is doing one of six basic things: push away or pull to you, grow or shrink something, speed, slow it down. Yeah, it's this push and pull to most forms of magic that is potent relevance and a useful perspective to think of things as like pushing it. Although like it's the way certain things happen that make it what you need it to be, and the timing and whatnot. So, but yes, I love that. And like something that I have, something related to that is I've always thought of like inverted moon phases, which is something I'm including in my book. Something Lilith taught me about. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I use it all the time. Sometimes the moon phase is not what I need, but the opposite is perfect. So I have ways of shifting consciousness to make that make sense. And that's really, like, as weird and bizarre as it may seem, that's really a lot of the time all it takes to accomplish fairly decent magic is that you can delude yourself in the correct way. Like, I don't know how it's just you can delude yourself in the correct way and then just completely release the whole thought altogether, and then it happens. Um, you know, that's the shitty chaos magician way to phrase it, but that's what's worked for me. I recently have been more comfortable trying to manifest or create things that I don't yet think are possible. I've become more comfortable pushing those boundaries. I think in the past I was like so narrow to what is realistic. Of course, when things actually come about, they come about mostly realistically. Like sometimes they're just so synchronatic or seemingly coincidental, like over and over and over again. I think a synchronicity is like several coincidences. Um, Several synchronicities come through it, and yet it still happens through reality, right? It's not happening through things that are completely impossible. They're happening through things that may just push what is possible. Um, and that's always fun. Yeah, shielding from psychic vampirism is a good idea. I like to make traps for that, and that's way more fun. Transformation of energy, yes, I call it the magic. Yeah, it's a transmutation, right? It's alchemy in a way. And you know, even being able to alchemize things like evil eye can be very important. Like there's no way in this day and age if you're going to exist and like especially on social media, there's no way to avoid evil eye. It's just present. Even at its like base, you know, unintentional level. It's a presence force that's just around people when they witness things. So you have to prepare for that. Yes, I do. I make lots of decoy puppets. In fact, I'll be teaching them that soon. I love decoy puppets. I make several decoy things, not just puppets. I've made decoy wards that were traps. I've made all sorts of things. That's a lot of fun. Nothing quite like wastes your enemy's time like layers and layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of decoys. Yeah, I mean, I understand. Sometimes it's better as someone who's like sort of always been pretty openly a witch, except for the very, very beginning. There was like a very small sliver of time when I was literally in the closet doing ritual. This tiny little closet, I was just praying to these pagan gods in it. With the tiniest little things, little scraps I made into a makeshift altar. And I was discovered. It was bad. And then from then on, I decided to not be in fear anymore and to say fuck you, and I'd be out in the open. And if you want to fucking harm me, then you're going to be very clear about why you're harming me. It's because you're trying to burn a witch at the stake, whatever the fuck. What are you saying? Okay. y'all talking about? I got into what I was saying. This is sort of a no-brainer, and I feel like most of my audience knows it, but it bears repeating anyway. Promises we make to Satan fucking matter. He hears every single one of them, even the ones you think you didn't make. So it's important to be conscious of what you say to him and why you're saying it and what you really want from it, and to be very clear with him. Not that he really misunderstands you, but if you're careless, he will teach you. You know, I'm not too proud to say that I haven't been taught. Okay. I've been taught a few times. But that's what you do. You live and you learn. I really feel like I said in the beginning, it's like people are so scared to mess up in magic. I don't really know why. It's sort of it's how you learn, right? When you first learn to ride a fucking bike, you fall down. You're supposed to take risks in magic to just test what you're capable of. I think that if you don't try things and you don't take risks, then you're just going to be limiting yourself to other people's noses effectively, because that's all these books and things are. Whether they're verified or not, they're just verified through other people, most likely copying it. Like, you know, at the end of the day, there should be some variation, right? So limiting yourself to just that, fine, you know, fine, but you're not going to achieve a lot of what you may be claiming. I think it's stale. I think it's stagnant. You're going to get bored. I once just sort of stuck myself into books and always learned from those, and well, that's not true. I always sort of did my own thing. I sort of just would read what I wanted out of the books. But there was a period where I was like, no, I have to be like very serious and always just do things by the instructions, and just that got very stale very quickly. That was not sustainable. And I completed it very quickly too, and I got super sick of it. Okay. Anybody have any questions magically? Because I feel like I haven't done a Q&A in a bit. Did I? I don't remember what I last said. But otherwise, I'm gonna be wrapping it up. I don't want to stand here super long because I have things to do. Let me see. I'll give you all a second, and then I'll probably wrap it up, but you can leave questions in the comments if you're watching this back. I know I didn't really announce this. I'm sort of over like promoting. I'm just doing, you know? Yeah, thank you. I like when people share what they're up to, you know. I think that's really why like the witchy community, if you remember, like the witchy community on YouTube like really began, was sort of this space to just sort of share and exist and teach. um Now it's very strange. Now it's like very much like how to become a witch in fucking 5 steps or whatever. Like, and I'm like, whoa, 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 let's slow down. You know, I think it takes a little longer than that. I have this there. A lot of wax on this mirror. All of this takes a lifetime. How long have I been a practicing witch? So I'll just say since I was since of my self dedication or whatever to witchcraft, that would now be 14 years, I think, 14, 15 years. I always get mixed up. Over a decade. Um, Now I've been like solitary that entire time, and the type of witchcraft I've been practicing has changed a bit. Um, where I am now as a traditional witch is not where I started. And where I am like spiritually as a Satanist is not where I started either. I never thought, I never thought I would be a theistic Satanist because I didn't believe in Satan at all. I did not. I didn't think he was real. I love Lilith. She's taught me a lot about psychic vampirism as well, and it helped me. I don't use it that much anymore. It helped me um, when I was just young and I didn't know how to like protect my energy and maintain myself, and I was like in a really shitty situation at home, and my energy was being drained every day by a family member. And so it was like the way I had to survive, and I was like doing it in ways that didn't like drain any one particular person. I was just sort of trying to take like little bit from all the people around me, so I wouldn't like fuck anyone up. You know what I mean? Oh, here we go. Here we go. There was a comment held for review, and I'm not sure if I should show it. Not because of the profanity, but because of the content. I enjoyed it. Thank you. It's okay. YouTube just automatically was like, no F word. I don't care. I'm not here to like monetize my shit. I don't give a shit. That's really cool though. I didn't know that makes sense that she's a blacksmith. I didn't know that she was. That's really cool. In traditional witchcraft, there's a few other like blacksmiths that are very important, like Tubal Cain. All right. I was trying to be a good girl, but where's my good lighter? I don't know where I put it. It's fine. It doesn't match. So I made my friends watch Ricky Six with me. Any Satanists in my audience know that movie, or anyone who's not a Satanist know that movie? I don't know if you saw, it was a smoke ring for a second. Oh. That's pretty cool. Oh shit, I forgot to age restrict this shit. Fuck. I'll do it later. So typically, I didn't go over it. Well, like carving a candle is simple. You take like a carving implement into the candle. I like sigils for that. Um, if I'm working with a particular spirit, I often attempt to carve their sigil into the candle. I've had this sort of like I've spoken on it so many times, and it's not even that big of a deal to like teach on because it's sort of self-explanatory. So that's kind of why I've not really shown too much of it. But it's just like my simple way of doing Clefothic candle magic. There is like a visualization aspect to it to make sure you're in the correct sphere. And there are times when I want to have certain astrological things happening in the sky before I do certain workings. But other than that, like it's really very simple of like inscribing the correct sigils and invoking those energies where they need to be. You don't even need to like fully, you need to be initiated through the clip off to it, but like you need to have at least initiated through the sphere you're working through. Um, but otherwise, it's not that challenging to do. It's a lot of fun though. Saw a snake around me. There's a million reasons why you could see a snake around me, but I welcome it. That's a good omen. I've been seeing also, um, they're sort of seasonal, so they're not like that big of a sign, but I do still pay attention to the behavior of animals that are around me. And I've been watching these little slugs. And there's a certain hour where they're very comfortable and their like eye stalks are very far out, where most of the time, if they're aware of people, their eye stalks are very close to their bodies. It's just very interesting. And I feel like nature is always communicating the flow of energy to me. It's not even necessarily like that it's all about me and everything around me is an omen. It's more or less that this is the influx of energy. This is what I can expect from behavior of others around me potentially, right? Like it's just sort of that kind of omen that you get through like an animistic wave like kind of message. And like the best allegory I have for that is like I remember standing on the shores and I would listen to the birds over the water. So there's like different species of birds kind of throughout the sky and the water. And I would hear like it would begin with like these seagulls that had this pattern that they would like screech out or whatever. And then the ducks like quacked a pattern that was similar. And then it passed to like several other little birds on the shore and it just like moved across the land, this pattern, this rhythm. Like a wave, but like consciously being spread by these different species of birds. And so I think of it like that. I think of it like you're consciously pushing out that vibration. And it changes, but it's still the same vibration. So when you're receiving an omen, you're observing that vibration acting on living things. Like I've had omens of like how different animals interacted where I knew, someone, a human being I knew would behave a particular way, or that I would behave a particular way because of the way these animals interacted. So, excuse me, I just hit my snuffer and that was loud. Did you see that? Okay. Sometimes it's not quite there yet. Sometimes there's devil tails. And this candle is not dressed with anything. This candle has no reason to just like zoop up like that. Aside from it's not quite a devil tail. It's more or less that's a cheap candle. Okay. Okay, a little bit. A little bit. A little bit sometimes. No, it was burning steady before. Maybe it is. Maybe it is something significant. I don't know. All right, any more questions? Everybody knows where I am. I'm in hell, honey. I don't know, snake is a very good omen for me. Always has been. All right, if there's no more questions, then I will end this stream because I think I've said all I wanted to say today. I don't need to beat the dead horse. So I'll give y'all a second and then maybe one more question. Thank you. It's nice talking with y'all. I'm out of water. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's about time. Yeah, that's all right. You feel free to rewatch later and leave comments. I'll read them. Thanks for stopping by. I know it was sudden. I didn't really tell anybody I was going live. Like I said, I'm not really about the promotion anymore. I'm just doing. Um, if anytime I think about like social media like a job, oh God, no, I just like, get sick. I'm like, ugh, I don't know. I don't want to be like that. I specifically cleansed myself of TikTok because I felt like that was getting in my head and it got in the way of like what my actual content was the fuck about. And that was not cool. I was like, no, I want to be about like what I've been about. I can't get distracted by like numbers and shit. That's so stupid. Um, so that's me. Thank you. I'll witch it up later. All right, I will not drag this on. If you have any questions that I didn't get to, feel free to leave them in the comments and I will read them later. Thank you so much for coming to my stream. I know it was sort of just like last minute, not super in depth, but we had fun. Feel free to copy my statuette for your hood ornament. That's great. All right. uh, thank you so much to everyone who came out here. Thank you to new connections on social media. I'm very like hermit mode, and I have like but I'm trying to be more open to like making more internet friends. So thank you so much for being here. I will definitely sift through your comments later. Thank you so much for your support. I've got some new Patreon things going on if you're curious. If not, that's okay. We always have free content over here. Um, check in with y'all later. Bye bye.